Welcome to my channel, Advice for You 3.0. It was supposed to be just another quiet evening, a routine night like any other. I had just finished washing the dishes and was about to settle in for a late night reading session when I realised that my phone charger was missing. I was certain I had left it in the guest room earlier that day. But as I retraced my steps, I realised something. I had last seen it in Daniel's room. Daniel was my housemate. We had been living together for almost a year, and while we got along well, we mostly kept to ourselves. He worked long hours, and I spent my evenings unwinding, in solitude. Our conversations were casual, often limited to discussing groceries, rent, or whose turn it was to take out the trash. But lately, I had started noticing things about him. Small details that I had never really paid attention to before. The way his voice softened when he asked me how my day was. The quiet way he smiled to himself when he thought no one was looking. The way his hands moved when he gestured while explaining something. I never dwelled on these thoughts too much, brushing them off as idle observations. But that night, something felt different. The house was unusually silent, with only the faint hum of the city outside. I hesitated for a moment before making my way down the hall to Daniel's room. His door was slightly ajar, and I could see a soft glow from inside. I figured he was working late again, probably deep into one of his never-ending projects. I wasn't planning to intrude. I would just knock, grab my charger, and leave. But as I approached, something made me pause. Through the small opening in the doorway, I caught a glimpse of him. He was sitting at his desk, fully immersed in his laptop screen, his fingers lightly tapping against the surface of his coffee mug. The dim lighting cast long shadows across the room, highlighting the sharp angles of his face, the quiet focus in his expression. I had seen him 1,000 times before, but at that moment he looked different, more intense, more distant, and yet strangely inviting. I don't know what made me linger. Maybe it was curiosity, maybe something else. But before I could think better of it, my hand was already on the door. I knocked lightly, pushing it open just enough to step inside. He looked up surprised. "Hey, didn't hear you." I smiled, suddenly feeling oddly self-conscious. "Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I think I left my charger in here earlier." He nodded, his gaze lingering on me for just a second too long, before he turned back to his screen. "Yeah, I saw it. It's on the nightstand." I walked past him to grab it. But as I reached for the cord, I could feel his presence behind me. The air in the room felt charged, like something unspoken hung between us. It wasn't uncomfortable, just different. "You okay?" he asked, his voice softer this time. I turned to him, my charger still in hand. "Yeah, just didn't expect you to be home this early." He leaned back in his chair, stretching his arms behind his head. "Got off early, figured I'd catch up on some work." I nodded, but I could feel the weight of his gaze. It was subtle, barely noticeable, but it was there. "Do you want some tea?" I offered, needing to break whatever. He smirked as if amused by the sudden shift. "Yeah, sure." A few minutes later, we were sitting at the kitchen table, sipping tea in comfortable silence. The atmosphere had shifted, less casual, more deliberate. We talked about nothing in particular, and yet every word seemed to carry more weight than it should have over the next few days. I started noticing more moments like this, the way our hands would brush when reaching for the same dish, the way his eyes would linger for a fraction of a second longer than necessary. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but undeniable. And then, one evening, something changed. A storm rolled in late at night, the rain tapping against the windows in a rhythmic pattern. I had just settled onto the couch with a book when I heard movement behind me. Daniel was standing at the entrance of the living room, looking at me as if contemplating something. "Can't sleep." "Yes," he exhaled, running a hand through his hair. Something like that. He sat down beside me, closer than usual. The flickering candlelight cast shadows across his face, making his features look softer, more intimate. "Do you ever think about how small moments change everything?" he asked quietly. My heart stuttered. Yeah, all the time, for the first time since I had met him. I saw something different in his expression, something careful, something searching in that moment. I realized that whatever this was between us, it had already begun, long before I had walked into that room. I just hadn't noticed it until now.